Hey YouTube, welcome back to Universe X, and it is GQuuuuuuX Tuesday, so we got another episode, this time episode 2, and it's actually pretty cool. It was titled The White Gundam, and we are in this time, instead of continuing the story of like Amate and Nyan and whatnot, we're taking a flashback to show the backstory of Char, and also Shalia. So I'm super excited to jump into this. I hope you guys are too, but let's start the breakdown for this. And as per usual, if you like the content, make sure you like the video. Subscribe if you want to see more anime, manga, and video game content from this channel. Check it out maybe. And if you want to go the extra step in supporting me, you can always go and join that $1 tier on Patreon, because it does add up if enough people do it. And with that being said, let's hop into the review and breakdown. So yeah, first and foremost, we finally got the intro for Gundam GQuuuuuX, and I think it's nice. It's a little cool, it's upbeat, and yeah, I definitely dig it. And then the other thing is that when they announced the title card, they give you the original zinger from like the Mobile Suit Gundam anime, and I really did dig that. It was really cool. So I was happy to see this. And then they start off, right, with the retelling of the OG story, except with, you know, the changes that make GQuuuuuX the alternative timeline. Now, you have Char, and you have Char and two Zaku's once again. Well, you have them going into the colony, and this time Char's there. It's not just like two random Zaku's, but yeah. So they end up going in and trying to check out what's going on here, and they end up stumbling upon a Federation base, and they talk about how they saw White Base docking in, you know, the rocking horse ship. And they basically just try to find what's going on in here, and they end up seeing all this like new tech, the gun cannons, the gun tanks. And as Char's given the order to like destroy, they also spot the Gundam, and he's like, okay, so I'm gonna destroy that. And Char's like, no, I'll belay that, cover me though. And he starts going over. Now he walks over, and this is one of the first things that's like killing me. As he walks over, he points out how stupid it was to leave this thing here with its cockpit open. And I like that, because that's just like a little bit of a jab towards the OG series. He was like, who leaves their super weapon over here completely unprotected? And I thought that was hilarious. But while he's going over to kind of inspect the Gundam, a gun cannon comes out, and it's mobilized, and it gets into a fight with the Zaku that was accompanying Char, and it was showing off some really good animation. Like, we see the gun cannon fire its beam blast, and it just was like a sight to behold. Almost completely melted the shoulder mounted shield that the Zaku 2 had, and it was just like really cool to see that even with these original things, like the animation is just like beautiful when it comes to the mechs. Yes, the designs kind of, you have to get used to it, but the animations themselves are amazing. So as Char gets the Gundam, he ends up getting into the cockpit, and he notes that, you know, the controls are different, but he'll make do essentially. And he gets into the Gundam, and because he's a soldier, he doesn't need a manual, much like Amuro did. He just had to like kind of get in and be like, okay, I think I got the gist of this. So as he's kind of doing that, you have him coming back and fighting the gun cannon. And he like just kind of like hits you with the original like Gundam versus Zaku kill, where he had the beam saber and he was holding it up, but he gets it on the gun cannon instead, giving you that nice juxtaposition and reversal of this iconic scene. So I'm super happy for this. This was really cool. And as they do that, like the sequencing of the fight was just amazing. You have him dodging the beam attack. Like, he ducks it, and then after he ducks it, one thing I noticed that was kind of cool, it's like a small little detail, when the gun cannon was charging against the Gundam, its arm holds itself over the cockpit to protect it. So it's kind of like a really cool little thing where even then they're just like, the animation is just kind of pointing towards the fact that they have to survive and they're prioritizing survival. So he's like, oh, and he's like trying to protect himself. I thought it was very cool. Nice little touch. So you have that now, and going into this fight, you have Char, yeah, he dodges like the beam, he ends up recreating that epic scene, and after he does that, he just stands there with the beam saber out. Aura is immaculate. It looks really cool. I was excited. So they steal that Gundam, and then he finds White Base, and he just pretty much puts the beam saber through White Base's like bridge. It was just pretty brutal, like evaporating everybody inside. And then after that, they commandeer it. So they're going out and they're towing it along with their actual like warship. And as they're towing it, they see two different suits come out from like behind an asteroid. And one of them is a mass production Gundam model. The other one seems to be a Zaku that they had gotten in battle and then repurposed as a training dummy. And right here, you just have so many good things. You have Char testing out the beam rifle for the first time, getting a huge shot in, and then decimating the Zaku. And that's when he notices that this Gundam is equipped with a warship class beam rifle. He was like, this thing's specs are specking, like this is incredible. And then he has a fight with the Gundam, the mass production Gundam, and my gosh, it was amazing. They have a nice little beam clash. At one point, Char hits with the signature Char kick, and then as they're beam clashing later, Char just opens up with the second beam saber and gets this dual beam saber execution, and then just again farming actual aura. It was amazing, and I loved where this animation was going. It's just like, it was peak to me. So you have this, and basically it's just good to see Char in his element again, you know? But you basically have a flash to the future after they've kind of gotten settled, and Char is asked to accompany the warship now called Sodon, and he's asked to go over and take the Gundam that has now been recorded to go to the Granada headquarters. And Lady Caecilia basically says that he has the power to end the war that should have only been 1 month, but now has gone on for 9 months total. And so Char is kind of underestimating it. He's like, I don't think one person can change the world and the guy, or the war. And the guy's like, you know, with all due respect, I think you can. Like, I think you have the power to do this. And then Char is approached by a scientist who essentially tells him that he is what he calls a new type. His intuition, his lopsided KDA, like just all these things that like mock him, like that add up to him being stronger, more advanced than the normal human. And Char's like, you sure? Why would you tell me this? Like, why isn't this going to somebody else? And the guy's just pretty much like, if this is where humanity has its like upcomings, if this is the next step, I just want to be there to witness it, and I want to see how far you can go. So yeah, then you have him, you have Char talking in what looks to be the Houston space station. Now, I know this location because at the beginning of this year, I was invited to the world premiere of the Gundam card game, and that was done in the Houston Space Center. And this is the room that we had the reception and banquet in, and opened up our briefcases with all the Gundam card game swag. So I recognized this middle centerpiece, and I was like, oh, I've been there. It's actually that where you guys can see that that silver box. That's from the event. So that was awesome. That was cool. Little thing, made me feel a little tingly. But Char asks if there are any other people like him, and then it cuts to Shalia Bull. And he is a new type, but they're giving him a lot more importance in this particular show, this story. So basically they're talking about how they've upgraded the Gundam from how they got it. And they mentioned that they are upgrading it with the Alpha Psychomu. So yeah, last episode, last week, when I was like, well, this is the Omega Psychomu, so there has to be an alpha. That's generally how they goes when they start using those terminologies and, you know, just storytelling. But this is the Alpha Psychomu, and it's being installed into the Red Gundam. And I will say right here, before I thought that maybe they were a pair, the Alpha and the Omega, but now it truly maybe seems like the Alpha Psychomu was the first of its kind, whereas the Omega Psychomu is literally the perfected version of it. So yeah, we're gonna see, but that was pretty cool. And he says that it amplifies one's cognitive abilities, allowing wireless communication in the presence of Minovsky particles, as well as using bits through controlling them via thoughts. And so this technology could change the way the war works. It was just too OD. And when Shalia starts asking why me, and Char explains to him, like, I need somebody that can like match my freak, you know, like I need somebody that has the skills, that is a new type. And Shalia doesn't think he's a new type, but Char is like, well, you know what? You're like, Shalia's like, yeah, it's just my intuition. I'm not this new type you speak of. I just have good intuition. And Char is like, I think you can be the one that I need alongside me. That's my intuition. And it was a pretty ballin' move. As I said, Char's just farming aura, and it's just crazy. But he offers Shalia a partnership for the sake of new types as well as humanity, but he's still kind of keeping secrets. And they shake hands, and essentially from that moment on, they are each other's mavs. Now, Char is just kind of just going off, and he's being a beast. Like, it shows Char and Shalia coming over to face pretty much a Federation fleet that was on high alert, and Char just kind of goes over and you see the new type flash and he's like, Ixoher, let's go, and he shoots his bits, and because of the bits being able to fly independently of his Gundam and fire from different angles, the fleet can't even tell where he is. He just wrecks an entire fleet and all the mobile suits guarding it by himself, and Shalia is just sitting there like, holy crap, this guy's a beast. And you have like Kycilia talking to her her fleet members and just being like, oh, he did this by himself? Like, this is just him. Yeah, this man's on another level. Like, there's just nothing, we can't get around it. This man's on another level. And it's just honestly pretty cool. So when you have her talking though, she does talk about her brother. And for some reason, I cannot remember his name right now, but like the Hail Zeon guy, like, I'm so sorry. You guys will know, and when this video is over, I will know. But at this very moment of recording, I cannot remember. But she basically says that his purpose is kind of a farce. Like, he's giving like false info and inspiring the people with it. So she's already kind of showing that she has her own plans for how Zeon is to move forward. But you end up moving forward in this like war, in the 1 year war. And you have the fact that Federation decided to drop their Solomon base on the Granada lunar base. And when it came to this, Zeon was so stretched thin because they tried to capture Luna 2 from the Federation, and it left them very thin in terms of their forces. So they didn't have any way to stop Solomon. And this led to Char's party bringing up the rear in a defensive like maneuver in order to stop Solomon from dropping on the Granada base. And this is like a mirror. This is a mirror of Char's counterattack with Solomon coming down and, you know, the main character having to stop it. It's very interesting because no matter what universe we're in, it seems like Char / Amuro will be destined to go out in this sort of thing. Speaking of which, I want to see if there's an Amuro somewhere here. I think if he was like what Char was to Amuro in the original series, they would have shown him by now. So they're either probably not going to show Amuro, or he's going to be some random character with a completely different purpose, if they even bring him in. But yeah, so you have Char going to stop Solomon from dropping on the Granada base, and during the battle, the Red Gundam Saikamu apparently went out of control. It went haywire, it looked like it just like overclocked, and essentially it caused what was the Zek Nova, which again is a like almost 1-for-1 recreation of the phenomenon that Amuro went through when he tried to push back the Solomon base and pretty much stopped it from falling on Earth, things like that. So pretty much you have that, and Char ended up disappearing along with a third of the Solomon base, and that's pretty much what happened. Like, it shows him kind of overloading, but either way, alternate universe, he cannot escape the way he ended up dying before. And with the Federation losing both Solomon as well as Lunar 2, they had to pretty much give up the war. They offered a truce with Zeon on January 3rd of the Universal Century 0080, and that ended the year-long war. That ended like the 1 year war for independence for Zeon. And that's actually pretty tight. And then the last little bit of it just shows Shalia noting that he wants to figure out where his friend went. He wants to know where Char went, where the Red Gundam went. And so it makes a little more sense why the setting is what it is in episode 1. You have Kycilia still looking for their ace pilot and the machine that they use to change the course of the war. And you're also looking at Shalia trying to find his now best friend. We have the relationship between them very much so more fleshed out than it was last time. So yeah, let's talk about this episode and how I feel about the series moving forward. Okay, so first and foremost, like I said at the start of this, I really do like the fact that they're retelling the story. I really do like that we don't have to just kind of be like, they're not telling us, they're showing us, and that is really cool. It pays off homage to a very crucial character in the Gundam franchise, and I for one am super excited about this. Now, with that being said, there's no like but to that. Like, I think it was just really cool. The animation looked amazing. The fights were well choreographed. It gave very much so Char vibes, and we're fleshing out a character like Shalia Bull. Now, when it comes to theories though, I think that this episode has kind of shown a lot to where things are going. Like, you have the fact that Solomon lost a third of its base. There's no reason for them to take a third of Solomon with it unless the Alpha Saikamu did a sort of transport, because they weren't able to find the Red Gundam after this happened. Shalia's been looking for it. Kaiselia's been looking for it. So this means that the Red Gundam had to go somewhere for the current pilot to get the Red Gundam. If that's the case, that means that Solomon and the Red Gundam probably vanished to the same place, which means that Char may not be dead. Char may be completely crippled. Char may have gotten to his destination and died, or Char is in the Psycho frame. Char could have been sucked into the Saikamu and now is a consciousness that exists within the Red Gundam. And I think this could potentially be kind of a deal, because you have this one scene in promotional trailers where the current pilot of the Red Gundam says it's time to fight. And if that's the case, that could be Char's will inside of the Red Gundam. I think that's what they could be hinting at. With that out of the way, I think that would actually be really cool if that's what the Alpha Saikamu can do. If while the Omega Saikamu controls the entire Gundam via thoughts, it'd be really cool if the Alpha Saikamu, you still have to control the Gundam more with your analog controls because it's not as advanced. But what if the Gundam naturally has a tech system in it that has that battle instinct, that combat data, and that being Char's intelligence, his battle IQ? I think that would be a really cool way to make the Alpha Saikamu just as strong as the Omega or close to it, or very unique in that sense. And I think that we're looking at a position where this is something that could very well be a thing. Now, I want to see how Shalia Bull gets into this. I want to see if he has his own Gundam. In the intro, we can see the characters that are going to be essential to this. We see the pilot for the Red Gundam. We see Amate. We see Nan. We see their team that will later form their clan battle team. We see a lot of people in here, but we also even see people like Exave still in the mix. So whether or not he maybe gets a Gundam and he feels inferior for never being able to activate the Omega Saikamu, maybe he will get his own Gundam and become like a rival. There's a lot of things that they are brewing on the horizon, and I want to know what you guys thought of the second episode, as well as my theories towards the end. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you guys are just excited as I am for this series. And yeah, come back next week for episode 3's breakdown. And you know what? If you just want to see other content on this channel, probably just come back earlier than that. Because we do a lot of we just do anime, video gaming, you know, manga content here. Anything that piques my interest, it's really just going to be on this channel for that. So yeah. As always, I gotta give a special shout out though to the people that support this brand, this channel, even beyond the views and the likes, and those are my Patreon members. I'm gonna give a special vocal shout out to the Realm of Xers, my highest tier, and that's the Beer R's, the Brother Bears, the Bryce R's, the Christopher V's, the Dallas S's, and the Danielle N's of the world. Thank you guys for being my Realm of Xers, and yeah, if you're watching and you just want to support in any way possible, join the $1 tier. It may seem like a little bit, but it all adds up for me, and I appreciate it greatly. So thank you, and I will see you in the next video. Later.